It's Desi again. It is shortly after 10 p.m. tonight, and tonight is January 26, 2018, and my surgery was December 14th, 2017. It's not a night that goes by that I don't think about what I've been through. And my story is different from most people. Again, I was telling you in a previous video, I didn't suffer with the terrible migraine headaches. I started to suffer with the migraine headaches after I had the spinal tap. And I began to feel pressure in my head all after the spinal tap. Leading up to surgery, I continued with the drainage from my ear. The spinal fluid continued to drain from my ear. And on occasion, I would have headaches, but they would not persist. So some people, like I mentioned before, they suffer with these migraine headaches, and they're really awful. I want to show you a picture of me after surgery. I have one picture in the corner here. You see me the day before surgery, but actually before my pre-op appointment. And you're going to see this. Now, I will put together a PowerPoint presentation later. But as you can see here, I haven't posted this yet. But this is the picture. One picture you can see to the left of my ear with the blue surgery cap that you normally wear before you, during surgery. Before you go back for surgery, excuse me. And you cannot see it that good, but in that particular picture, it shows when my ear was leaking fluid and blood after surgery. The top part was the top of my head, or the ball of my bald head. You can see where the incision was made for my shunt. The shunt is on the left-hand side. And then to the bottom in the middle, you'll see that's where they went to repair the CSF lead with the picture with the cotton ball. And then over to the far right, you'll see my head. I'm just showing you that all of my hair is now shaved off. So I had a lot of problems going on before surgery. And because at the particular time where the pseudotumor was located, they say a pseudotumor is also referred to as a pretend tumor. But before I found out that it was a pseudotumor, I was told I had a fluid-filled cyst. First it was a tumor, then it was a fluid-filled cyst that was located in my pituitary gland. And that really affected my hormones. I was actually going through early menopause. I had started in my early 30s having problems with my cycles, you know. And later on, I started having one cycle a year, and it kept changing up. I would have 2 cycles a year, and eventually I didn't have any cycles. So my gynecologist told me once you go without a cycle for 12 consecutive months, then you would be declared in full menopause. Well, that happened to me. I was declared in full menopause because I was no longer experiencing any cycles. And the hormonal changes affected a lot of things for me. It affected not only my cycles, it affected my hair, it affected my weight. All of those things happened. And then later on, things start balancing itself out. So I was fine with menopause, really I was, because hey. But anyways, moving on, I have always been a health conscious person, and all of a sudden I started picking up more weight. And I was like, well, maybe is it because of menopause? What is going on? And all of a sudden it started when my ear started leaking. And I knew something was wrong, because I know me. And this is one thing I want to encourage you to do. Listen to your body. Pay attention to the symptoms. If you suffer with earaches all the time and your ears draining fluid, or if fluid is not being drained from your ear and it's draining from your nose. When I say draining from your nose, I mean it's like it's running water. I know all about that too well. Your body is telling you something is wrong. Hopefully it's not a CSF leak, but you need to make certain, you need to know what to look for. So I know a lot of doctors are against Google when it comes to Googling things and determining what's going on. But let me tell you, Google was my friend, because there's so many people that I'm not able to make contact with across the world that suffer with the same condition as me. And going on YouTube and looking at their videos and researching information, it really was a big help to me. Now, I must admit, okay, I know it's late. There's sometimes you find yourself sitting up at night looking at videos and doing research. And then you get ready to lay down and go to bed. It gets hard to go to sleep sometimes. Why? Because you could have researched a little too much. And what I want to encourage you to do, pick a time throughout the day, not at night, to do your research, because that would interfere with you getting your rest. But after surgery for me, I felt like set me back. And nothing against my doctors or anyone, but I had more problems after surgery than I did before I went in my opinion. After surgery, I was in excruciating pain. I had terrible migraine headaches. I had so much pressure in my head. And keep in mind, this is the side where they went to repair the CSF leak on this side. And I was cut from behind this ear all the way here. And so I felt pressure. When I say pressure, I felt a lot of pressure on this side of my head. On this side is where they installed the shunt. So the shunt is actually here. And for a couple of weeks when I made it home from surgery, I slept in this recliner at night for 2 consecutive weeks. I slept in this recliner. And I found comfort in sleeping in this recliner. But when I finally transitioned to my bed, it was a little difficult. It took one night for me to be so tired and exhausted for me to finally sleep back in my bed. And I was so happy. That was a major accomplishment for me, to be able to start sleeping back in my bed. To this day at night, I can sleep on my right side comfortably, but I have to position my head a certain way. Because I was cut on both sides, I even have a little cut back here, because that's where the tube goes. Well, a little part where I'm not really sure, because what I did was, let me tell you what I did, because I really don't know all the details of what happened in surgery. I requested my medical file so I can become more familiar with what happened to me while I was under anesthesia, because I want to know. And I only got certain information from my doctors. But anyways, technically I had an incision here, one here for the shunt, another one here behind my ear, and I have an incision there, and I have one on my stomach. And that's where my catheter is. Let me tell you about this shunt. If you're considering a reprogrammable shunt, or a shunt period, to help you drain the fluid from around your brain due to intracranial hypertension, do not, and I repeat, do not get a shunt without getting all your information about the shunt. Find out if the shunt is going to work for you. Get to know about the shunt. Get to learn about the shunt. And find out what questions to ask. for me, after having the shunt, I did not know that this thing could cause so much pain. In addition to the pressure in my head from the shunt and from having the surgery, period, the catheter, which is a small tube, it's a really thin tube that goes down to your stomach. That catheter will have you in so much pain. If you ever had a child and you know what contractions feel like, that's what the pain of the catheter from the shunt will make you feel like you in labor. That tube will move around as it pleases, and you never know where it's going to land. Sometimes you may experience pain in your pelvic area, and that is no good feeling and it's not like it reached there, at least I don't think. But that pain, that shunt will let you know that it's there. The catheter will let you know it's there. It's not a good feeling. It's very painful. And it was so painful to me once I had to go to ER because I didn't know what was happening, because I was never told what to expect from the shunt. So initially I was supposed to get a regular shunt, one that was not reprogrammable. But after going through my surgery, they couldn't locate the fluid around my brain nor the CSF leak. So they installed the doctors, the neurosurgeon installed a reprogrammable shunt. So at any given time, if my shunt stops working, I can go and see my neurologist, and they can use something to reprogram it without having to go back in my head or perform surgery per se. I'm thankful for that. I don't know if I want to keep the shunt because they couldn't find my problems. I may decide to keep it. I don't know. It's still kind of up in the air. But all I can tell you, this has been a good week for me, because this week I haven't felt any pain from the shunt since Sunday, January 21st, 2018. And today is January 26th, 2018. And I haven't had any more pain from the shunt since Sunday. And that's progress for me. If it continues this way and it doesn't cause me any more pain, then I plan to keep it. So I will post pictures. I plan to put together a slideshow for you to see some of my progress. And I know you probably couldn't see that picture that well, but I want to show you my progress. Stay tuned. And again, this is Desi Hall. And if you're going through this, please know you're not alone. And I want to encourage you to just keep the faith. Trust and believe God that He will bring you through this like He did for me. Have a good night. And remember, if you're up, regardless of what time of day it is, do not research too long, because you will stress yourself out like I did. I know all about it. And one last thing I would like to say for those of you who are preparing for surgery. This was my prayer before I went to surgery. I was so strong leading up to this surgery. So strong, very optimistic, and just so hopeful. And the night before surgery, I began to talk to God. And I was saying, God, I don't know what to expect after this surgery, because I knew I wasn't going to feel or remember anything, because I would have been put to sleep. But after surgery, it was the mystery for me, because I didn't know what to expect. But this is what I asked God. I asked God to arm me to suffer. I asked Him to arm me to suffer. Can you believe that? Because I knew suffering was going to be a part of the side effect after that surgery. I didn't know what extent the pain level was going to be, but all I knew, there was going to be some form of suffering, some form of pain that I couldn't wrap my mind around. And I asked Him to see me through and to carry me through and to give me the ability to deal with it. He did. Not to mention, I had a great support system. I want you to know, as long as you stay tuned to my channel, I'm going to talk to you about my experience. And there's more information that I'm going to share with you. I go follow my neurologist next week and my ENT doctor, and I will know where I stand. I have more tests to go. I have some more tests to go because we want to be sure I don't have CSF. Want to be sure that the shunt is working properly. And so I'm still optimistic. And so I want you to remain optimistic. We're in this together. And don't give up. We shall win this battle. No, there's no special cure. They don't know why it happens, or it's just something that happens, you know. Outside of people having it because of obesity and age, because it's known that women between the ages of 20 to 50 are diagnosed with this condition. But outside of weight and age, they don't know why this happens to us. But through the power of prayer and us keeping one another encouraged, we will get through this. Have a good night. Have a good day. And remember, you are not alone. We're going to fight this thing together. Thank you.